Hey fam, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another recap of Welcome to Plathville, Season 3, Episode 1. What is this called? The Wake Up Call. Go ahead and do me a favor and hit the like button. We're not going to be here that long. I was very bored during this episode to the point where I was reminded of why I had stopped watching it for a little bit. But let me be clear, season 7 is giving. It is creating all types of feelings within me, and we got a lot to discuss for that season. So I'm going to keep on reviewing these, even though the beginning of season 3 was a dud for me. So we're not going to be here long. The episode opens with a quick reminder of all the things that transpired during season 2, with Ethan and Olivia reaching their breaking point with the Plath parents, with them deciding to cut ties after Ethan stood his ground in the driveway, with Micah and Mariah being out of the household but now making up with their parents, with Lydia still being at home doing more work than her mama, and with the Plaths trying to alter the way or change up some of the things that they've done in the past to make sure that they don't have any more damage with their relationships with their children in the future. So we're going into this next season, season 3, and the family is clearly fractured. So we begin with Ethan and Olivia. They did all that talking about how they would be leaving soon. And we find out that after 6 months since film has wrapped, that they are still right in the same place where they were, which is a couple of miles away, or I don't know, blocks away from the Plath parents. They, to me, look miserable. Ethan isn't even answering production's questions. It seems like they are having issues because there's a point in the episode where she admits she was gone on work for over a week and she didn't talk to Ethan at all. They text here and there, but they did not have a conversation. I said it in season 1 towards the end. I know I said it in season 2, and I'm going to say it again here in season 3. I think that the Plaths were hard on Olivia, but I think at some point that Olivia complicated things by her constant desire for her husband to set up boundaries that I'm not really sure he himself wanted to set up. And he's a grown man. He should be able to voice his opinion, but I don't think that he really wanted to stop being around his siblings because he seems miserable to me. She says that Ethan is a different person than he was before, that he's angry, so angry that she has told him that he has to start going to therapy so that he can work that out. We find out that he went to one session and that's it. And he's not sure if he's going to go to another. Anybody who's considering therapy, I'm going to be as honest as I can about what the process was like for me, in saying that I think that therapy is something that all of us could benefit from. Now, I've been through it in it for a long time. Certain times in my life, I need it more than others. With that being said, the beginning part of it is never easy because you're having to tap into things and talk about feelings and discuss stuff that sometimes you just really don't want to talk about. And coming from a place where Ethan previously was, where they didn't address their emotions, I can see how it would be very uncomfortable for him to talk to a stranger and tell them things. So I wish that he stuck with it longer, but he apparently didn't. So Ethan does finally tell us that the past few months have been hard. And he makes it clear that he has a lot of anger and resentment towards his parents, that the way that he deals with that anger and resentment is when he thinks about it and when he gets stressed or frustrated, he gets out of the situation. He works on his car or does things in the yard. And what Ethan doesn't realize is that's not healthy because you're running from it. You're not dealing with it. He says that he doesn't want to have anything to do with his parents. And we watch him vent about how he feels like his mother used his siblings as leverage against him, about him not being able to see them until they say it's okay, and the rules and all those other things. And it's just a bunch of emotional control. I think that Kim and Barry were very wrong in their approach. I understand that you want to monitor the situation to a certain extent, but it did become a thing where it was leverage. Olivia says that as for her and Ethan right now, they are having a little bit of struggles because they want different things. Olivia wants to go as far away as possible, and Ethan wants to stay put. Ethan doesn't like the idea of a city life. He likes country living, and he likes being able to be close to Mariah and Micah, because really that's the only family that he can interact with sibling wise. I don't know how him and Hosanna are. Hope I'm saying her name right. His the eldest sister. I don't know how they are, but at this moment, that's all he has, right? So Olivia says that they want different things, and she knows that that is also going to eventually cause them to grow apart. She wants to move. He doesn't. It's been hard on her as well, not just because she's having to deal with not being able to see the kids and things of that nature, but also because she has to deal with Ethan's anger and with him shutting down and not talking to her. And that's the end of them. So we see Micah. Micah is enjoying the single life. He is still out of his parents' household. Him and Mariah still live together. He is working with the modeling as well as doing some of the previous work that he was doing around town. He's doing campaigns, and he's been flown out to Miami. Well, he didn't say flown out. He said he's been to Miami and Atlanta several times for work. So we see Mariah. As I said, her and Micah still live together. She's still, I'm assuming, working and writing in her music. And she's building a life that is more stable for her. She is in a relationship with Max, and they are happily in love. She is extremely happy. She gets a lot of time with him and a lot of kisses. Mariah does admit that growing up things were different, that they are affectionate, they are playful, and they are free to kind of do what they want to do. At the present time, they're getting ready to head to Barry's for his 53rd birthday dinner. Mariah says she's glad that they're able to do this after seeing the way everything transpired with Ethan. She does not want to be like Ethan and Olivia. She doesn't want to hold grudges. She wants to deal with things and move on. I can see that. I do think, because I used to be one of those people who used to be a grudge holder. And it does get to the point where it affects you sometimes in ways you don't even realize. And I think that that's what happened with Olivia and Ethan. I think that they allowed this situation with Kim and Barry to be like a main problem in their marriage. And it just created even more division because that's all that they seem to focus on for a good portion of their relationship. And the fun went away. At least that's just my opinion. You guys tell me yours. So we see Max talk to Micah and later Lydia about wanting to eventually marry Mariah, not anytime soon. They're both young. So he says what he wants to do is wants to get her a promise ring. They're soon going to be together for a year. He says they always do these pinky promises. So he wants to get her a pinky promise ring. And he's going to need for Mariah not to know, and he needs to find out her size. So he wants for Micah and for Lydia to help to get him the right size. We think Lydia thinks it's so sweet and all those things, and we later see them awkwardly at dinner as they pass around the ring and try to different people try on the ring, and they're sizing up each other's hands and things of that nature. And Kim just so happens to have this really, really small ring that her grandmother used to wear, and Mariah tries that one on her pinky and it fits. As I said, they did that at the birthday dinner. So Kim made the Caribbean seafood stew, she called it. Her words, not mine. For Barry's 53rd birthday. I've never heard it called like that. Um Yeah, I know I've tasted like I have a cousin that made they didn't call it that though. It was a stew that had like mackerel and coconut milk and stuff like that, but I don't know if that's what this is. Cause yeah, when it comes to stews, like give me some pumpkin soup with some white yam and stuff like that. But okay, anyway. So at this point, she just wants to give her husband his favorite meal. Kim is happy that Micah and Mariah still come and hang out with them. She claims that, she's even allowed Isaac to go skateboarding with Micah. She's showing that she's trying to loosen the reins a little bit. Um, and Mariah comes out to hang out with the girls sometimes, and she and Mariah talk on the phone often. So she's happy for Mariah and Max, but she does mention how different they are when it comes to how affectionate they are. She said in the past, when it comes to the dating, the parents normally have more involvement where they hang out with each other and then they kind of, facilitate the situation with their kids. And in this case, Max and Mariah are doing their own thing, but she does like them together. She sees her children sitting at the table and she claims that she wishes Ethan and Olivia were a part of this too, but she doesn't know if they'll ever be willing to work on it. She feels like she would have to drag them over to her house in order to do so. I wonder what would happen if they were to ever have met in the middle. Like if it were a thing where they start off small, where instead of trying to force things down each other's throats, that maybe they go and do like a outing because they all love the outdoors, something outside where they can all be involved. And maybe at first it might be something that Olivia may not want to attend, but I think that it took a lot out of her husband to not be able to hang out as much with his siblings because, as we've said before, those were his friends. So Mariah feels like it's hard not to pick a side when it comes between her parents and Ethan because she can see both sides of it at times, but she really, really wants to stay neutral. She doesn't want to have to pick a side. The dinner goes well. Everyone enjoys themselves. So as I said, Lydia is 17 now. Well, I didn't say she was 17, but she's 17 now. And she is at home with Kim and Barry. And she is still very much so a religious person. She spends a lot of time journaling and she is back in her prayer closet, surrounded by some of her prayers and pictures and things of that nature. And she admits that she really, really misses Ethan. She misses her big brother. There's times where she wants to call him and ask him things. And I just wonder why she like did Lydia not have a cell phone at this point? Because why couldn't she just call him and ask him things or talk to him? Like, was he cutting her off too? I don't know. So she feels torn. She loves her siblings, even though she may not always agree with their choices, and she wants her family to be restored. She's happy that things are getting better, but she misses her big brother. So we see her praying and things of that nature. We find out that Lydia and Mariah are a lot closer now. She comes over there more and she's interviewing her. They talk about this tattoo that Mariah got. And Lydia says, not Lydia, Mariah says she was surprised of how accepting her family was. Let me tell you something. I am 41 years old now, and I have not gotten a tattoo. I have three, and I have not gotten a tattoo since my son. I got it after I was breastfeeding. So we'll say like 17 years ago. After I finished breastfeeding, I got a tattoo. Another one. With that being said, my mother to this day hates with a passion tattoos. So it's going to be very interesting to see how when the next time she sees her grandson, she sees the big behind tattoo that he just got on his arm. Y'all pray for me. I went away for my brother's baby shower and my son couldn't attend because he had to work on the day of the shower. And when I came home and he showed me what he did, and I was like, oh, I thought it was a joke. I was ready to slap it, and then I realized, oh wait, it's real. It's big. It's going all the way across here, which I am glad because we had a discussion many years ago. I told him if he gets a tattoo, he has to wait until he's 18. It can't be these certain things because it's permanent and things of that nature. So he did listen. I was also nervous because he has extremely sensitive skin. And I'm like, what if this keloids? And he's like, Mom, they did a test before where they did some dots and stuff like that. And I sat in there for 30 minutes and they watched to see if it went down and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's been a week now. And so far it's looking good. But I know my mother is going to have a lot to say when she sees it. It's nice, but she's going to have a lot to say when she sees it. Anyways, so yeah, I rambled on about that tattoo. The family accepted it. So Micah lets us know that he and Mariah have kind of been in between their parents and Ethan and Olivia, and that there was a point where Ethan and Olivia had a problem with it. I could see why they might have a problem with it, but to say that to your siblings, like allow them to decide what it is that they decide to do. My nose is itching. Sorry, y'all. Now, though, they understand that they're not going back and repeating things and things of that nature, so they are okay with it. Ethan and Micah then hang out, and this is the first time in the entire episode that we witness Ethan smiling. Like he actually looks happy. They work out and end up chasing each other. Ethan is fast because Ethan is running barefoot, hauling his tail in the backyard through the woods, and he even jumps over a fence. Says a lot about how they used to play outside without shoes on, right? So we see Lydia. She is now 17 and her parents trust her more. So she goes to a job interview where she would be talking to customers and sometimes washing cars and various things that need to be done around the shop. And it happens to be at a place where many of her siblings have worked. And she sees Ethan and she seems very excited to see him, but he doesn't seem as excited to see her. And that's how they ended. Not much here to say. I told you it wasn't going to be long. Let me know what you thought of this. Until next time.